Hey everyone, Dr. Green here. In this short video, I'm going to show you how to set up and submit an assignment in this course. We have this great page in our LMS that does all this in writing. Go ahead and read over that. Take a good read. For now, I'm just going to copy the naming format for our project. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this right here. I'm going to go on over to GitLab, and the first thing you want to do when starting a project in this class is go into GitLab, log in, and click New Project. You'll see this will bring up this screen. Select Create Blank Project, and we have to name it. Let's replace all these placeholders. So here I'm going to put in 5010. The XX gets replaced with the term, so that's summer. The YYYY gets replaced with the year. A gets replaced with the assignment, so typically this would be 01 or 02, but since this is an example, I'm going to say 00. And I'm going to make my last name Green. You may have to pick a namespace here. Typically, this is just your username. I'm going to go ahead and use my username, rgreen13. Keep it private. Initialize repository with README. We're great. Create project. Here we go. We have our project. You'll see there's a lot on this page. It starts with a README file. The README file is displayed down here. You can really think of this as a directory that has part of your project in it, or it will have your whole project in it, starting with this README file. So the question is, how do we connect this to our own computer? Go ahead and click on clone over here to do that. Now we are using VS Code, so we are going to use one of these down here. Open in your IDE VS Code for SSH or HTTPS. I am going to use SSH in this video. That's a special methodology that lets me log in to GitLab without using a username and password. I suggest you use HTTPS. What that will do is it'll just ask you for a username and password along the way. That'll be your GitLab username and password. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click SSH. It's going to open up in VS Code. If it prompts you for anything along the way, go ahead and say yes. I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to go to the folder where I want to keep all my assignments. You'll see I already have a folder in there from a previous assignment, and I'm going to say select this as repository destination. Note this will create a new folder in here just for this assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You'll see it's cloning. It says, would you like to open the cloned repository? And I'll say open. And you'll see over here we have the README file. This is a language called Markdown. You can say open preview to see what it actually looks like. But what it's done is it's cloned the repository locally. Clone is just a fancy word for copy. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do here, I can either right click and say new file and create a Python file. I can do my Command Shift P and say Python, new Python file. I'm going to save this. I'm going to call it main.py. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to want to add this to our repository. So when we use Git for version control, we use a three-step process. First, we add a file. When I add a file, this is telling Git to watch for changes. I only add a file one time. Okay? Files are only added once. Two, I'm going to commit files, a file or files. And this means take a picture of the current state of the file. So basically, let's take a picture of what the file looks like so we can always come back to it, see what it did, all that kind of stuff. And three is I am going to push my changes. Pushing is just copying my changes back to GitLab. Okay? So the way this works is we add a file once, we commit that file, we push that file. We can do that two ways. One is through using the terminal. The other is through using the GUI. Personally, I like the terminal, so I'm going to go to terminal, say new terminal. You'll see it puts me in here, and I can use git commands. So they all start with git. And what I would say here is git add main.py. Step one, complete. The second thing I would do is a git commit. Git commit -am. The A means all, M means with a message. So I always want to attach a message. I'm going to call this added main.py file. Beautiful. It tells me it's added and it's committed. And then the last thing that I actually need to do is push. Okay? So I can actually say push. You'll see it gives me some of this information here. And if I go back to GitLab and refresh my page, I now have a main.py file. I can even look at it here, and you'll see that it is empty. Okay? The cool thing about this now is that if I make any additional changes, so if I say print welcome to CS5010, and save that. I can say git commit -am, say made some small progress today. I commit and I push. Now you can commit 20 times before you push. It doesn't matter how many times. But if I come back here, you'll see that I can go in, and there's my main.py. It has all my new information. And this is really cool. You can actually see this. If you go to the repository menu, you can always click on graph, and you can actually go back and see a list of all the changes you've made in the progress over time. So this is it's a really good and easy way to work with things and turn it in. Now I told you there was a second way to do this, so let me go ahead and add a new Python file here. I'm going to add main2.py right here, and I'm going to say I want to add this. The other way to work with Git in GitLab is through the GUI right here in VS Code, which a lot of you will probably be more comfortable with. You'll see here I have this U. This U means that it's untracked. You can see that in the little balloon there. Most of you would right click, you take a look and you say, oh, I don't see all that much. So what we want to click on right here is you want to go down the side until you see the thing called source control. Now you'll see I have these things in here. It says changes. I don't really want to track all of these files down here. You'll see those are in the history directory. I don't really care about them. It's just VS Code tracking changes I've made to the file so I can roll back later. I would just ignore those for the time being. But in source control, I have that main2, and you'll see that, let's see what I can do here. I can open it, I can discard my changes, I can stage my changes, and it's telling me that it's untracked, right? It'll open it. So what I want to do here, right, is I want to go ahead and click the plus, so stage my changes, and then let's add a message, added main2.py. Great, so I can commit that. It is now committed. You'll see if I go back, main2.py is no longer untracked. The only difficulty here is, well, is main2.py up there? No, it's not. It's not on GitLab yet. So what do I need to do? I need to push it. So I can go back to this tab. You'll see this little arrow on the commit. You can always go to commit and push when you make a change, or you can click on these three dots and just go to push. And you'll see if you have everything connected, it may ask for your username password. I can go back up here. I can refresh this. There is my main2.py. Okay. Now, anytime I make a change, I can say print, hello, y'all. There. Okay. And I can change this, right? So I'll enter my commit message. Added some code to main2.py. Let's do, well, let's see. It says it's modified. Let's add it. And let's do commit and push. Okay, so you'll see it's out of the way. And if I go back into GitLab, you'll see it even tells me my last commit message was this. And I have my hello, y'all. Okay? So this is how you're going to turn in your assignments. Whenever you do work, you create a project on GitLab, set it up, and then you come back here, you work in VS Code, you add, you commit, you push, and when you're done, you drop me an email letting me know to check it out. The last thing that we do need to do is we need to add me to your project so that I am able to do things. So you'll see I went to Project Information Members, go to Invite Members. In the username or email address, you can simply add rgreen13, that's Robert Green right there, or you can add greenr@vgsu.edu, either one. Both will work. I will get the information, and they'll go ahead and change the role to maintainer and just say invite. Okay? I can't invite myself, of course, but you will be able to invite me. So, in short, that is how you set up and submit your assignments for CS5010. Be well.